guys, welcome back to my channel. This is my sister, Megan. She's gonna be doing a video with me about our father. It's more of like a serious type of video, but we figured it was like a good time to just talk about what happened and like why he's not here today, because a lot of people wonder what happened. So I'm gonna talk about what happened 7 years ago today, October 1st, and just kind of go into detail of how it's affected us now and how it affected us back then and how it's going to affect us in the future. So
well, I found out that Daddy passed away. I was in the bed sleeping. I was almost 9 months pregnant. Right before I got a phone call, I woke up out of nowhere. I was up for about 5 minutes and then my phone rang and I was like, well, nobody calls me at this time, so I already know what's going on.
mm-hmm.
And so I answered it, and then Sandy told me, that's our stepmom. She told me that he was gone. I don't really remember anything else because it just kind of sucked. At that moment, I was just like, man, I don't know. I felt like God could have stepped in and like saved him because I had prayed so much and it didn't go in the way I wanted it to go. And I was just like, are you serious right now? I didn't cry, but I was like just disappointed in God. Later that day, I talked to her again and she just said, well, we got to plan this funeral. And I started getting pictures together and make a slideshow, and that's all I did that day.
I had just turned 13 in August, so I was just newly 13 years old. It's hard to remember for me really like what happened or how it happened, but Megan found out before I did. Whenever it was time for me to know, she knew already. And my mom woke me up that morning at like 8 a.m. I want to say, or something like that, and just kind of laid in the bed with me, and she just told me, you know, he's gone. And I think I remember just crying, like, because I didn't know what to feel. I didn't really know how bad it was. I didn't understand like what cancer was as a kid. I went straight back to school. My grades were dropping. I didn't want to stay at home and just think about it all day long. It was just, I couldn't do it. I had to go back to school because I needed to focus on other things besides my dad. So yeah, I felt the same way, like why didn't God step in the way that we wanted? Because clearly he stepped in, but it's in a way that we just didn't want. We didn't want it to be that way. We wanted him to survive here.
Yeah.
So
I tried to take off of work and they were like, well, we don't have a bereavement policy. Like, what place who claims to be family friendly, and if I name this place, you guys could look it up and know that they claim to be family friendly,
mm-hmm.
and they don't have a bereavement policy.
That's insane.
I had to go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
And that sucked because everybody knew what happened.
And then they come to you like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And I mean, that's understanding. Like, people don't really know what to say. They don't. Like, it's just like, don't say anything really. Yeah. For me, preferably just because it's like, I understand that you care, but like it doesn't help because it's not going to change the way things are.
There's nothing you can say when you lose a person so close to you. And I recognize that. That's why when I know someone that has a lost loved one, I don't know what to say. I just don't say.
Mm-hmm.
And I let them know if they want to talk, they can, but sorry for your loss is like played out.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, I'm sorry too, we're all sorry, like, that's not going to change the situation, like, what?
So yeah, I had to go back to work, and that was the most painful thing ever, and then I thought of a quick idea, and I said, I want to see my doctor and getting put on bed rest. My heart was broken,
mm-hmm.
And so I couldn't function at work. And our dad passed away.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks after that, I had a baby shower to go to.
Oh my gosh, yeah, because didn't you have like a couple...
I had like 5 baby showers.
She had more than one.
And this one, thankfully, was like a family one, because the other ones were like with my Delta sisters or at work or something. But this was like my dad's side of the family. So it was like we all shared the same pain. It wasn't like, oh, I have to be embarrassed and talk about my dad's death and all that too. I still didn't want to be around anybody.
Yeah, because it's like all these things are happening. And for you, I feel like things started happening a lot faster because you were having a baby already. And like, but me, it took me a few years to be like, to hit a milestone like that. Like, okay, 4 years from now, I'm going to graduate. And that's something I had to, face.
Yeah.
But for you had a whole baby a month later. Like, and that's something that's just like, it's just so heartbreaking because it's just like, he was supposed to be here for that. And this was going to be his first grandchild. Like, that's insane. So.
Of course, every time there's a milestone, you just always remember that that one important person is out there. Like when I bought my house, I bought my first house, I couldn't celebrate with him. He promised that he would help me keep it up, and like he would teach me how to do stuff around the house. When I bought my first car, he wasn't there to negotiate them down, because everybody knows my daddy was the negotiator. Okay. A bigger thing is that now that I have my own business, you know, my daddy was a business owner. He started a business called All About Caring in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Home health care business.
Yeah, home health care. Whenever he would come to his Oklahoma City office, my job was around the corner, so I would get to see him and talk to him and hang out with him, and I saw his, you know, every step that he made to start the business, to get it going. And so I was just so proud of him and stuff, and that's just, I mean, you could tell he was in his element. That's where he needed to be, not working for someone else. My daddy was a boss.
Literally and figuratively.
He was her boss, and then he was a boss.
Right.
Okay, and so it was inspiring and stuff, and it turns out, you know, because of different circumstances, now I own my own business. Sometimes I just wish he was here so that I can say, hey, here's what my numbers look like, what yours look like.
Let's compare.
I mean, I'm sure his would be smashing mine, but I just, you know, like percentage-wise, like, because I'm a math geek, like I would like to compare that, or I would like to get advice, or ask, you know, asking questions or whatever. Another thing is like Anaya, obviously, you know, talked about him growing up and having to watch him grow up and not be able to share with my dad. Now that he's old enough to understand what happened, every time he sees a picture of my dad, he's like, oh, that's my dead grandpa.
And it's funny because it's just like, he doesn't mean it in that way, but that's all he knows is that he passed away.
That's really all he knows about him, is that that's my dad, and that he died a month before he was born. So it's just tough because Anaya is so amazing to me. He's like such a blessing, and he's God's gift to me at a terrible time.
Right.
And I just want to share that with my daddy.
He would enjoy. I feel like they'd be best friends. Like,
man, I'm telling you,
they'd be best friends.
He would get a kick out of him for real. The last thing that's pretty important, you know, I didn't know at the time, but looking back, you know how people say traumatic things can manifest themselves in you physically sometimes. It was probably a year later, after I had Anaya, that I started feeling real symptoms. And I say real symptoms because looking back into my earlier, like high school years, I remember, you know, pains in my wrists and stuff. But that's when things started to escalate. 2013 comes. I remember I was sick with the flu or some kind of, a bacterial infection for like a whole week. And usually it only lasts about 3 days, because yes, I get bacterial infections like every winter. And I was like, this is kind of long. And then I came back to work, even though I didn't feel like coming back to work, and I was like 15 pounds lighter. And everybody said, can you go back home, because you don't look like you're better.
You're not ready.
So that happened in January. Then in May, my hands swelled up. My hands were swollen.
Swelled.
My hands swelled it up.
Ew, that's definitely not it.
I was trying to study for my actuarial exam, and I couldn't write anything, so I was just like writing, like my handwriting just looked like trash, and I was still trying to study and work out these problems and stuff. And so I was busy going to doctors and things like that, and he tested me for lymphoma. And that was not it. And he said, if that's not it, then it's gotta be lupus. Turns out it was lupus.
Whenever she was going through that, like when she was getting tested and everything, she had to let me know that, you know, it could be the C word, is what we say. And it's really sad because it's like, I don't know, Megan and my dad are like two of the most important people in my life, so it's just like for that to happen and then to see it again would be like horrible.
I also started a new job later that year. It was kind of like, wow, I probably have a job where like people like appreciate my intelligence and don't all the way care that I'm a girl and smarter than them. And I lost that job 6 months later for attendance issues. My attendance was poor because I was always tired. I would hear my alarm, but I would still wake up later, and I just couldn't get with it, man. My blood pressure was really low, so they put me in the ICU until that got better. They took me out of the ICU. Now mind you, I'm very like fuzzy on this stuff because there were procedures and stuff done, and so I'm not going to remember the timeline. I just could tell you how many actual days I was in the hospital total. So they put me in the ICU for a while, then they took me back out and put me in a regular room, and then the same day they said, you got to go back to the ICU because my kidneys were failing. They told my mom and my husband that my kidneys were failing, and so they were going to have to do a procedure I don't know the name of because I can't remember. So it took me a while to recover and to walk and all that stuff, and I got to go back home. And then a few days later, guess what? I went back to the hospital.
This is like a real Dora the Explorer. And then what happened? Fill in the blank.
Started having seizures because my blood pressure was like 200. And then when they finally figured out what was going on with the seizures, it was a disease called PRES. They sent me back home after about 5 days, and then I came back for seizures again. And so total, I was in the hospital from September to the beginning of November. Yeah, I even had my birthday there. I was so excited. All of that, and I'm not saying I wouldn't have lupus if my daddy was here.
But it would have been a lot easier to probably go through.
It would have been easier to go through because he had a disease also. But I don't know. I feel like being sad and being depressed might have brought something like that on, or just being so heartbroken might have made those matters worse.
Yeah, because you were having symptoms in high school, you were having symptoms in college, but it never got to that point until all of a sudden, and then boom, 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 all this is happening. So like maybe it would have onset along later in life. Maybe you wouldn't have ever felt it. Maybe you just had some sort of symptoms, not all of them, but like, yeah.
So how does it affect you today?
What? Today? But if you guys are wondering, that's why she made her business. Because she stopped working at that.
Okay.
She couldn't work at her job because of attendance. Yeah, so she started her business, Sweet Looks Collection.
Whoop whoop. www.sweetlookscollection.com. Follow us on Instagram at Sweet Looks Collection, on Twitter at SweetLooks85. Thank you.
So basically, it affects me in similar fashions. Like I do see what she's talking about, like with Anaya. In her business and lupus and stuff like that, because that affects me as well. Like I wish he was here to see all of that too. It just affects me as far as like I just graduated high school a couple years ago, and like he wasn't there to see that, and I sang for my graduation and he wasn't there to see that. He didn't get to really hear me sing. I think he's heard me sing like maybe once or twice.
And that was your young voice. That wasn't like what you got going on now.
Yeah, I was like 10. I was maybe 9, 8 singing Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus or whatever, and he'd be like, oh, you sing pretty good, but like it wasn't a big deal. Like singing is my passion now, and he didn't know like that I would pursue singing later in my life, or that music is that much of a big deal in my life. The thing that kind of affected me mostly is that he didn't get to see me grow into who I am now. I just look at pictures of me when I was a kid or pictures of me and him when I was a child, and I'm like, man, I am not that girl anymore. Like I've changed so much, so drastically. But every now and then I think about milestones, like when I get married, like who's gonna walk me down the aisle. My sister wants to do it so bad, and I probably will let her, but she wants to walk me down the aisle because it's like that's a dad's thing. Or like the daddy-daughter dance, is that gonna be Megan too? Okay. And then I think about my friends and how their parents are still in their lives, and I'm like, they have no idea. Like, do you ever think about that?
Yes.
They have no idea how important that is. Father's Day, happy Father's Day, Dad, you're the best dad in the world. And I'm like, I can't do that. I'm like, I can't say that to my father.
And you'll see you making a texting motion. That would drive me up the wall. That's your people. But if I see somebody texting Happy Father's Day, I'm like, you better go say Happy Father's Day to your daddy. Like, you have a dad. Like, come on. Yeah. I assumed he'd be around now and later, and when I'm 50. I don't know, that's just what you assume, especially when you don't see people dying a lot, which we didn't. I mean, everything just, to me, everything happened so fast, just maybe because I didn't know that he was sick for the longest, but like 1 minute he's here, and then I go back and visit him, and then now he's in a wheelchair. And it's just like, whoa, like that escalated very quickly. But he was just at Walmart last week, I'm confused, like, but mainly just those types of things affect me. Like, Megan didn't even get to show him her child. Like, I really won't get to show him mine. At least he knew that she was pregnant and that was coming, which is really still heartbreaking, but it's like I won't ever have that opportunity
she won't have the opportunity, Kai won't have the opportunity, Robert won't have that. Like, it's just really sad. I was thinking about this the other day, but like, I just thought about how Mama must have felt being the only parent. Like, having kids and then all of a sudden it's all on me now. To be in this together with somebody, hand in hand, these are our kids, and then one of them not being there anymore. That's just so sad, and I'm just wondering like how that made her feel. But yeah, I just think about the future mostly more than the present. I mean, I'm in college now, and sometimes like financially it can get a little bit difficult. And I'm like, well, if my daddy was here, this wouldn't be an issue. I know it wouldn't. I wouldn't have to work so much. Like, I just got a new job, but I wouldn't have to work at school probably at the same time. Like, I probably would just be able to focus on school in my future.
Now that was his dream.
Yeah, to make sure everything lasted for his kids.
He didn't want anybody to need after he was gone, and he didn't have a lot saved. Mm-hmm. I mean, he had his 401k, and he had to spend that on hospital and medical bills and stuff like that. And all he had was his business, and you know, that's a long story.
We might have to tell you guys that story another time.
Yeah. So there's not a business
anymore
under his name.
Yeah.
But anyways, we won't get into that.
That's tea we'll sip later. It affects me every day. I make new friends and then I talk about my mom and I'm like, my mom did this, or my mom loves this, or she likes watching Star Trek, or I was at the mall with my mom, or like I was on the phone with my mom, sorry, I texted my mom. They're like, do you have a dad? Like, where's your dad? Is he here? And I'm just like, yes, in spirit he's here, but I always have to break it down to my friends. Anybody new that I meet, I always have to like bring
awkward.
it up. Yeah, and then they're like, oh, I'm like, can you just not ask anymore? Like, if I wanted to mention my dad, I probably would have, like, in that way, you know? At some points, I do talk about him, but it's like, on a daily basis, I really can't. I don't want to make anybody feel sad, so I talk about my mom or somebody else.
Speaking of friends, I want to give a shout out to my good friend Whitney, who I've known since birth. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, because I know some people asked if I needed anything, or if they could come over when Dad passed away. And I told them no. But she stopped by, and that was special to me. Her and her mom stopped by the house. As awkward as that is, to just drop by and then your friend's just sitting there in silence. I appreciate her for doing that. I mean, that memory is always in my heart.
Shout out to my friend Seven, since we're shouting people out. She didn't know anything about my dad. She didn't know he was sick. She didn't know I was visiting him every week. She didn't know like, I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell anyone. She didn't know anything about it until she found out that he passed away through me, because I had to tell her. And she was just like, always there for me. She was just like, you always kept a smile on your face. I had no idea. So I just appreciate her for that. She was always there the entire time. She was there, but she didn't know she was being there for me. But
yeah.
I know.
I like Sammy.
Sammy. For this video, we went ahead and dug up some old pictures of these pictures that maybe we haven't even seen before.
I've seen them all before, but I'm just going to pretend like that I feel the way she does.
I've seen this one before, though. Like, this one is so cute. I made Megan give me a copy because I was like, oh my gosh. He's so cute.
Look at that Jerry curl.
Right. I love it.
And it's like way past the due date. Dad, what's going on?
Literally.
I actually remember taking that picture, and that's all I remember.
There was no backstory.
That's no story.
I actually remember taking that picture. Yeah. There was nothing more to that. And that's our brother Kyle. He's so cute in the back. He looks like Anaya.
He does. Looks like Candace and Anaya put together.
And this one is of our dad with our aunt Paula. This is our dad. He's just so super cute. I'll insert this picture
just like him. I don't know why she got to do that.
You know what Sandy told me about that?
What?
I thought I told you, but maybe you don't remember. Maybe I didn't.
Oh, about you. About. I know what you're gonna say. Go say it.
Okay, so my stepmom was like talking about how much I look like him, and she's just like, I don't understand. Like, how can someone lose their father at such a young age? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, he wasn't done fulfilling his purpose in her life. That just doesn't make any sense. And she was just like, maybe that's why you look so much like him, because then when you look in the mirror, you can see him every day. And I'm like, that's so true, because, like, I guess I guess Kyle looks like that. I don't know. I guess Kyle looks like him in a way.
He did. He was the one that looked like him until you came. They're like, no, she looks like
You're
him.
canceled, Kyle.
Yeah, he's canceled.
So now I look like the main one that looks like him. And I thought that was an interesting point because I was like, I am the only one that kind of looks like him. And I'm the one that had the least amount of time with him. So I'm like, that doesn't make sense for me to look like him and then be in the mirror and be like, oh, hey, daddy, what's up?
Oh, wow. She has some
What's up, daddy? Ew, no.
Let me give you a hug. Oh, that's amazing.
Awkward.
This is an oldie but goodie.
Aww.
I guess this is a picture of Dad and maybe his friend or coworker or something
He
at
made lots of friends.
Chicago's Bulls game in like 1990 something. We don't know. It's when Michael Jordan was there.
It's so, yeah, that's like a gem right there. Like, Michael
Like
Jordan.
the cutest.
I know.
He has his glasses on.
He's like the most adorable dad.
That's like the last day he wore them because he was like, I'm not wearing these.
These don't make me look cool. So this one, Daddy always had like his hands down here, or like he always did a little look like this. It was just like the same.
He always thought he was so cool. Like,
right. I mean, he was like low key.
he wasn't. He's probably the coolest dad.
Yeah.
Like, he's cool for a dad.
I feel like now he'd be the most chill person in the world, especially since I finally grew up and I'm in college.
He was chill then. You know, like he was.
It's no more dad, it's best friend. Like at this point on, like for me, I feel like it would have been.
Nah, he would have still been dad.
Or he would have been dad in some fashion.
But you ain't found a man yet, so he gotta judge you about that and be on you about that. It's
look
best friend for me.
You look good. Why don't no man want you?
Dang.
We were talking about this, how like my dad probably would be like, why do you want to pursue music? And I was just, I don't know, maybe.
Ooh, yeah, I would argue about that.
Right, we probably would, but I feel like at the same time he'd be my #1 fan. Like if I was really showing some real interest, because he was more about how can you afford this? Where's the money coming in every month? We need to have some sort of income. You can't just be on the street playing your guitar trying to play music. Like there needs to be some sort of way to get there. So I feel like we would argue about my dream, but at the end of the day, at some point I feel like he would see that I was serious about it and he'd be my #1 fan and be like, okay, well, who can we contact? Who can we get in the...
I was just gonna say, do you think he'd be a better manager? Do you think he'd like be able to set some time aside and
I think he would
actually decide to be your manager?
Yeah, because like the business, the All About Caring, that probably would have skyrocketed at this point because of his mind. Like I feel like things would be even further along than they are now, and he would have more time to just be a dad.
Yeah, he could actually take the time off and not worry about working.
Right, because he'd be getting the money income in the first place.
Man. That's okay, Candace. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it all.
You have too much on your plate right now, but when you get that money,
do it all.
Okay. That's so crazy.
I just wish God would tell me why He allowed that to happen, and then that way He, like, maybe if He was like, well, if I let him stay, then this would have happened, and it'd be something like bad or something, and then I'd be like, okay, well, I'll let that slide.
Right. That's Aunt Paula, Uncle Steven. That's Aunt Terry, Uncle Ricky, and they're married. So. Yeah, so that's just two siblings.
I think that meeting, I think Sandy told me that was the day, the beginning, when they were first talking about the business.
Yeah.
And how my daddy was not going to just be an investor, but was going to hold shares.
Yeah, he started the business. He's invested his money and he held the shares.
He doesn't invest in things without getting paid back or getting
because who does that?
Equity. That's stupid.
Right.
Anyway.
Unless you're already rich and you can give to the poor. That's not stupid. But the other way.
For him, investing with his family and the headache of his family, I don't think he just wanted to just give them money.
Here we go. We'll talk about the business in another video.
It's juicy too.
Yeah, give us a thumbs up if you want to talk about
documents.
Right, we got
girl. Let me tell you,
we got the TV, we got all of the everything. So if you want a video on that, give us a thumbs up. But yeah, this is him. He had 3 other siblings that aren't in this picture. So, or 4 other siblings that aren't in this picture. I'm just counting.
So most of them aren't in that picture. There's
right.
Like 2 out of. What do you have, like 4?
Yeah, so
there was 7 of them total.
Yeah, so it was my daddy, Aunt Paula, Uncle Marcus, Aunt Terry and Aunt Cher are twins. Aunt Vanita and Aunt Juanita are twins.
And here's a photo we found. It's probably one of the last photos, or the last photo he took with his family.
Right.
It's got Uncle Marcus, Grandma, my daddy right here, Terry, and Paula. I hate this picture.
Me too.
Because I know the story behind this meeting that day. And it was about the business, and someone had to argue my dad down about getting his money back he put into the business. He just wanted it back because he knew that he could pass away soon. Mm-hmm. If you could look closely, you can see how sick he is. He doesn't have very much facial hair. His face is kind of twisted up and kind of chunky and weird looking, and he has a hat on, but underneath he doesn't have any hair. And that would be the other reason why I hate this picture, because I hate any cancer looking pictures of him.
Because he is, okay, what? Okay.
Night and day.
What? Like, not the same at all. Just not the same. And it's hard to look at someone like that when they're such an important person and they're such a smart person and such a life-fulfilled person and a go-getter and had dreams, had goals and aspirations, and for them to look like that is just so disappointing. So
it's like, man, this is how you talk to a man that's sick. Anyways, like I said, tune in for
the tea.
Tea time.
Yes, with all the
receipts. Ken and Meg.
Ooh, that should be a segment on my channel.
Who you want to?
Yeah, we should talk about the tea. Tea time with Ken and Meg. So yeah, we just wanted to tell you guys like the story of our dad and what happened, because like I said, I have so many people in my life that ask and like wonder why, and like, why don't I mention him? Why isn't he in any of my pictures? Do I visit him? Does he exist? Was he ever in my life? Lots of questions that I've gotten. So it's good to clear this up and talk about it, because like every now and then I feel like it needs to be talked about, and he's not here. So we can't just sweep this under the rug and just move on with life. Like, I mean, in some way it gets better. It does. Like, it doesn't get better. It gets easier. Because better would be that he was here. If it got better, that means he'd be back. That's better. But easier is like a different situation, because it's like it hurts at first, but like literally as time goes by, it just gets easier.
I don't think it gets easier. I think what happens is we adjust ourselves to that person not being here. It doesn't make the pain lessen or anything like that. It doesn't make it hurt any less, but you do learn to go on, which is a blessing from God, because otherwise I'd still be back in 2011 still. It's great that he made us to where we can go through things, and yeah, we could be like, "Ooh, that sucked," and it may still suck, but we can still move on and be productive people and good people.
Yeah, we can talk about it and not like cry. Anybody who's lost a loved one or who is going through the same kind of situation we went through with seeing our father sick and things like that, it's really sad, which is like something that is hard to get over and get through. But at the end of the day, like we said, you learn to adapt and change, and life does go on. Like, life doesn't stop. I think I would say to honor those people in as many ways as you can, because although Megan has her own business now, I'm sure whenever she can, she honors our dad about it. Like, okay, what would he would say? Like, what would be his advice, or how would he feel about this, or how would he go about that? You know, still putting in his input even though he's not here. And think about, what would my dad say if he was here? Because I still think his opinion matters about how I feel and how I live my life. I think his opinion always is going to matter. I almost cherish these moments that we had, like when he was sick, rather than, oh, somebody came and shot him, or like he got in a car wreck.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't even get a chance, but at least if you knew he was sick, you had that chance to just like spend time. But those people that lose their parents or lose family members or friends just in an instant is just like really, really heartbreaking. So
I never thought about that.
Also, don't feel bad for talking about it, because the more you talk about it, the better and easier it gets to talk about. Because if you don't talk about it, it's just going to always be like something that's hard to discuss.
Don't be afraid to go to therapy too if you need it. I did that once. Who knew that? Only me.
I knew.
Because I didn't want to tell anybody.
Yeah, nobody knew. She kept it to herself.
I have a thing about that. I don't like people to see me weak. It was helpful. I'm a very hard person to get to communicate. I was there for like a year, and it was pretty got some good tactics to work on to help myself, and I still remember them today.
I don't think anybody has a good way of coping with someone passing away. Like, nobody can do it right. There's no right way to just do that. Like, you can't just live life and this is the right way to grieve. Like, there's just no right way. And it just depends on how you take it. And it's probably the most, like, heartbreaking feelings. I feel like losing close family, like a parent, a sibling, or your own child, or your husband or wife is probably, like, the worst feeling. Like, aunts, uncles, okay, that sucks. But, like, losing somebody so close on that level is just, like, the worst thing ever. Okay, I think this brings us to the end of our video. If you guys thought this video was interesting or helpful in some sort of way, leave it a big thumbs up. Leave a comment about any moments that you've had or any advice you could give to someone as far as taking every moment seriously and every moment into consideration with the people that you love. Share your experiences or how you got through something or anything like that down in the comments below. Make sure you, like I said, give this video a big thumbs up if you want that tea on my dad and his business with his siblings, okay? Okay, you guys, we'll see you later. Bye!